how to find intercepts. So if you think about the word intercept, what's that word mean to you? If you intercepted a pass, what did you do? You picked it off, okay? But what did you actually do?
You interrupted.
Okay, you interrupted, or you got in kind of the flight of the ball and got in the way, right? So you crossed the path that the ball was originally on.
Yes.
Now, Ryder would probably drop it and probably go through his hands.
Oh, that was me at level.
That was me, I'm sure you get.
But some of us, when we touched it, we actually caught it.
And then got it. I almost got a touchdown this year.
Yeah. And then you tripped and fell.
No, I got tackled.
No, I think he did fall down that one time.
Brady's got like a.
He got tired.
So, we're going to try to find the intercept. So, if you're thinking about a graph, where would the intercepts be?
The Y and the X on the things that go up and down.
Yeah. What do you call those?
Axis.
The axes, right? Okay, so what intercepts or axes do we have?
X and Y.
We have the x-axis and the y-axis. So here's the question. The x-axis goes in what direction?
Left to right.
Left to right. Everybody agree? Okay. And so obviously my y-axis goes in the opposite direction, which is up and down. We're all good with that, right? So basically, we're going to try to find intercepts that are on these two axes, like Mr. Ryder said. So what has to be true about one of the coordinates in those ordered pairs? Obviously, I'm going to have an ordered pair again.
It has to go through the X or Y axis.
It has to go through the zero.
It has to be a 0 on one of them, right? So if it's on the x-axis, which coordinate, my x or my y, is going to be 0? If it's on this green axis right here,
It's X.
and which one's the x?
The first one.
The first one, right? So I'm going to put 0 in for here, and then what are we going to get? If I put 0 in for x, what would I get?
Zero.
What would I get right here? I would still have a y, right?
Yeah.
So do you think this right here would signify the x-axis? If I had a y in my answer?
But you don't know what Y is, so you can't graph it.
I know, but we'll say, okay, then 6.
Okay, yeah.
Would you say that's an x-intercept?
No.
No, right? So if we're trying to find the x-intercept or on the x-axis, all right, so let's start all over. To find x-intercept, which should be on the x-axis, you are going to, by what we just talked about, put 0 in for which variable?
Y.
Y. So look, if you're trying to find the x-intercept, you're going to put 0 in for the y. And solve, that was a bad pen, for the x. So if I'm going to find the y-intercept, I'm going to put it into for what?
X.
I'm going to put 0 in for So basically, anytime that I'm going to find an intercept, I'm going to put 0 in for the opposite letter. And so my x-intercept should have or be something that looks like this. Some value or number is going to go in there, and then we're going to always have 0. And this number could be positive or negative. This one right here, I'm going to have 0 in for x, and then I'm going to have some positive or negative number in there for my y-intercept. That makes sense? Okay, so, let's find an equation here. X plus 2y equals 4. So basically, the first thing they're going to say is find the x and y intercept. The biggest thing that when you do this right here, let's go back here, and maybe you have to put it on the side or something, but write as points for your answer. So if they ask you to find the intercepts, you cannot just say x is equal to some number and y is equal to some number. Write them as points. Okay, so your points again should have 0 in them for your answer. All right, so let's come back here. I'm going to first find my x-intercept. So I'm going to put 0 in for what?
Y.
I'm going to put 0 in for y. All right? When we say 0 in for y, this is what we did yesterday when we made that table. Okay? So I'm going to take 0 and put it in for y. Well, what happens to it then? Right? So y, let's just show this for the first one. You really don't have to show this from now on, but this is why it happens, right? When I take anything times 0, that cancels out. So what is x? 4. X is equal to 4. This is my x-intercept. It's going to be right on one of those axes, right? Either the green line or the yellow line over there. Okay? So, what about my y-intercept? I'm going to put 0 in for what? X, because I'm finding the y. So again, I'm going to show this. 0 plus 2y equals 4. So again, 0 is 0. That basically gets canceled out. How do I get my y to be all by itself? Divide by 2, divide by 2. So what's my y?
2.
Y equals 2. And I can stick that back in there. So I have my y-intercept. And again, this would be right on my axis. What do you need, right? So, if they ask you to just find them, that's all you got to do. But don't just write x equals 4. Write 4 comma 0. Put parentheses around it because it's an actual ordered pair. Okay? If they say find your intercepts and graph, then all you're going to do is plot. Oops, I forgot the L. Plot the intercepts. So, how do I plot my 2 points here? Again, remember, as you should have heard on the video yesterday, I'm going to be pretty anal about how you graph. So make sure you do it right. Make sure you put straight lines. That's why the graph paper is important. And then make sure that you use and show your numbers on your graph. So you're telling everybody how it's going to go. And then today, when you plot your intercepts, you should only have 2 points. So that's the kind of the unique thing about this. When you do find your interception graph, this is the only time you can graph with only 2 points. And how you can get away with this is because you know that it's exactly on those axes. Like when you were doing yesterday's, you needed at least 3 points, if not more. You can always do more, but you need at least 3 when you're doing the table or what we're going to do in the future. This is the only time you get to do it with 2. So, how do I graph 4, 0? Where do I go?
4 to the right, you just stay there.
4 to the right. How do I graph 0, 2? I just go up 2, right? And then, don't forget, take your ruler and connect your dots. Because guess what? Just putting the dots on the graph doesn't make it a graph. And is this a line? No. This isn't a line because I need arrows. Why do I need arrows?
Show that it
Goes on into infinity, right? Goes on into infinity. So I plot my dots, connect them, and I gotta have the arrows on them. Okay? So like yesterday, we would have had more points, but realistically, if we would have made a chart like we did yesterday, that point would have been on it. You know, I can't find another one that's perfect, so my line's probably not exactly. But that looks like that was perfect, and we could extend it in both directions in either case. And depending on what you picked to put into your table, all of those points should be on there because that's what makes a line a line. Good to go? All right, so let's try this out. Obviously, you probably don't have graph paper. No big deal. Don't have to graph it. Just think about your graph. And I want you to find the two intercepts for y equals x plus 4. So there's my equation. So find the two intercepts for that equation right there. Y equals x plus 4. So again, you're going to do what we did right here. Put 0 in for each of those things and solve. Again, now don't be lazy here, meaning it's okay if you have to show work, and it's even better if you don't need to, but you still do. So what I'm getting at is show work, even if it's really simple. I don't know. Haven't had time to look. Thanks. How do we do? So, I'm going to put 0 in for y. So I'm looking for the x. So, what happens in this situation? What is x? -4. I want x to be all by itself, right? So that means I need to subtract 4 from both sides. My two 4's cancel each other out. X is equal to -4. When I put 0 in for x, this is the easy one, right? Y equals 0 plus 4. So 0 went in for x. This is my y-intercept. So what's y? 4. Okay? Make sense? How do I graph this first dot?
Left 4, yep, left 4, and then just on the line.
Left 4. And then this one?
0 up.
Just up. And then we connect our dots. Everybody good there? Alright, I want you to try this one. Same rules. Find your intercepts. 2x plus 3y equals 6. So find your two intercepts. So again, make sure you show your work. How do we do? 3, 0, and 0, 2? Okay? Where am I going?
Right 3.
Right 3? Up 2. Now here's the biggest thing. A lot of people start doing this and then start going really fast. And they would go right 3, and then they're going to go up 2, and they're going to put only one dot, and they're going to put it right here. Right 3, up 2, and they're going to put a dot, and they say, that's my answer. Right? So again, you got to go right 3, put a dot, up 2, put a dot, and then connect those 2 dots. That's the biggest difference. Okay? All right with that one? All right. The last thing that we do in this section is talk about what I call special lines. Okay? So, when we talk about special lines, these are going to be special because these lines are only have one variable in the equation. Every single equation that we talked about in the last 2 days has always had 2 variables, right? X plus 2y. Y equals x. 2x plus 3y. They all have 2 variables. Well, the special lines are only going to have 1. So my 2 special lines are vertical lines and horizontal lines. So when you think about this word vertical, what's that mean? Up and down, right? It's basically how much can I jump and get off the ground. Some of us very little.
What? I had a 24-inch bird.
Brady's got.
Oh, wait, no.
Off of what?
18,
Brady's
sorry.
got
I had
23.
Aren't you 6 off?
All right, so a vertical line is up and down. So here's the question. Obviously, I'm going to draw this vertical line. Here's my coordinate plane. Okay? Here's my vertical line right over here. Everybody good with that? Right? That's a vertical line. So, what variable describes this line right here?
Y-axis, it's up and down.
Am I on the y-axis?
No.
Why did you say P?
Positive. Boy.
I read it in the book yesterday.
Boy.
What do you think? So we have 2 options, y or x. How many people say y? Be proud, Kinsey. Put it up there.
I'm betting against.
How many people definitely say x? How many people really have no idea? Put your hand up there, Kinsey.
It's Y.
Oh yeah.
So, think about that over the night. We'll finish that tomorrow, and then we'll